Burnside.
Rex Flowers, representing myself. I hope you deny everything except the educational component. A couple things I want to bring up. We heard Dr. Mulder get up here and make a comment that he released a coyote from a trap. Did that willingly. Is that an egregious offense? Do we give him 12 demerit points? He felt that was a humane thing to do. Is it humane to turn loose a crippled animal to possibly die over a longer period of time than have it stay in a trap and have a trapper put it down? Demerits. You're talking about increasing demerits. Even habitual criminals have a 3-strike rule. You all work pretty much for somebody else on your jobs. You make a mistake, they don't throw you out of the building. They slap your hands, they coach you, they teach you. Maybe after 3 times, you're gone. That's usually a union rule. Lastly, on maps and stuff, you know, all these lands are multi-use. When is somebody going to stand up and recognize that they're multiple use lands? Chairman Rob, I heard you say it tonight. If you don't want to trap in 48 hours, to basically toughen up and drive 15 more minutes. When are we going to grow a backbone and tell the non-consumptive user, if you don't want to walk your dog where there's traps, toughen up and drive 15 more minutes? Thank you.
Craig. And then Randall.
Craig Burnside, Douglas Cab. We met Tuesday evening. Commissioner Drew was in attendance at our meeting, at least the part that we were deliberating this. The Trappers Association was represented at that meeting, but there were several Douglas County interested, concerned residents that were there as well. Everybody in the room had the sentiment that the legislation did ask that this issue be considered, and we all agreed that it has been considered, and we unanimously voted to recommend to you all that you reject all of the recommendations of the committee. That's not to discount the amount of effort and time and work put into it, but that was the way we voted. Thank you.
Randall. And then Joe Krim.
For the record, Randall Stolborough. I'm a director for the Nevada Trappers Association. And I'd like to pass one of these out to everybody first.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you, Ron.
Okay, while they're passing those out, I'm going to touch on a point that Rob mentioned, and also, oh my gosh, Jim Kern, wherever he is. It's on trespassing. I agree 100% with Mr. Rob right here. Trespassing and as a trapper going in on somebody else's land and catching the owner's dog, my gosh, that's awful. Okay, but I was faced with a story I'm going to tell you, actually 2 real quick before I go on. What about the flip side of the coin? Trapping for myself on private property, catching red fox. This is a true story. It happened to me. Somebody just happened to be walking through there. I don't even know who it was, but turned a red fox loose. And the only reason why I know that for fact is because I heard it down in town in Lamoille, some people talking, and it got back to me that, hey, so-and-so, somebody was walking up here, took their dog up through this private property, Ruby Dome Ranch, and turned found a trap with a red fox in it, and they let it go. Okay, that's one scenario. Okay, so that's the flip side of the coin. Second time it happened, a different situation. I'm trapping same place, exact same place. I catch a dog. I get a call from the rancher and said, hey, you caught a dog somewhere on my place, I'll drive around and try to find it. And I was like, oh, no. The first thing he's going to do is shoot it. He told me that if I ever catch a dog, there's no dog that leaves his place alive. So I drive out, and I'm checking sets, and I see him coming, but I also see another vehicle leaving. Somebody had been there, got the dog out of the trap, and threw the trap on the fence, and fortunately for that person. But, okay, the point is, yeah, I caught a dog. Somebody willfully went onto that private property, took their dog out of the trap when the dog should have been there and stayed there, and they should have been prosecuted for trespassing, and also that dog... the dog owner should have been charged for tampering with traps, and my gosh, the book should have been thrown at him because the dogs, there was 2 dogs that were running together. They're running cattle all day long, or all night long. They'd come in pairs at the same 2 would come in at night. We got a serious problem up there, and my gosh, we hear this about trappers doing something wrong. Holy
Okay.
smokes.
Randall,
the other
we're-
side is seriously getting...
We're at 3 minutes, Randall.
Okay, the point is, here we got some people that are, honestly, they have good intentions.
Okay, Randall, you have to address the commission, but you're beyond
The
3 minutes.
pathway to hell is paved with good intentions.
Okay, thank you.
That's the one bullet point I wanted to get.
Thank you.
Joe and then Kathy Smith, and then that's the last card I have, so.
Joe Krim, and I'm representing myself, and I won't go over time like Randall did. I'll be quick and sweet. One question. Why are trappers being singled out for higher demerits when no one else? Why trappers? Nobody else is getting dinged with or proposed higher demerits than trappers. Nobody. Why? That's the question. Second thing is, the 96-hour check should be universal across the state. If you single out Washoe or Clark or any of these other counties or parts of them, that's a little piece. Next year, we're going to be sitting here again, going over it again to widen that area. It's never going to quit. If we don't take control of it now, it's just going to whirlwind even bigger. That's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Kathy?
Kathy Smith, Reno, Nevada. Again, I appreciate all the effort everybody has expended in this process. I did recently travel to D.C. and found a quote by Thomas Jefferson very relevant. I am not an advocate for frequent changes in laws and constitutions, but laws and institutions must go hand in hand with the progress of the human mind. As that becomes more developed, more enlightened, as new discoveries are made, new truths are discovered, and manners and opinions change, with the change of circumstances, institutions must advance, also to keep pace with the time. We might as well require a man to wear still the coat which fitted him when a boy, as civilized society to remain ever under the regimen of the barbarous ancestors. Society has changed. The way people treat animals is changing. The Commission and the Department need to evolve with society. I hear repeatedly about science-based decision-making. Again, population data has its place, but to trap or not to trap is a value judgment. Whether or not there is a sustainable population is a totally separate question. Is there data to confirm that trapping decreases human-wildlife conflict when healthy populations are maintained? Not that I can find. In fact, coyote populations often increase when killed randomly, as confirmed in today's presentation. Trapping may cause more conflict by increasing coyote numbers. Does trapping decrease disease transmission to humans? Not in a random population. In fact, discussions I've had with epidemiologists and in several articles, the opposite is true. A decrease in red foxes was linked to an increase in Lyme disease prevalence in rodents. Does trapping increase game numbers? Maybe in some circumstances. That depends on what is limiting the population. I have not seen any evidence to say trapping increases pygmy rabbit or sage-grouse populations. Before we continue killing animals based on assumptions, shouldn't we have the data to support it? Shouldn't we first do no harm? Society supports hunting, including bird hunting with dogs. Don't be fooled when trappers try to group themselves with hunters. Trappers hurt your reputation. Remember, in the WAFA survey, our state surveys like California, Washington, and Oregon, not like Idaho and Wyoming. I think we need to be honest with ourselves and our inconsistencies. I found the discussion about an ungulate suffering after a crossbow injury interesting when an animal in a trap can be injured and potentially die a slow, painful death.
30 seconds.
Any regulation that allows similar animals to be treated in a dissimilar fashion fails to qualify as an acceptable moral theory. How many non-target animals live after release, especially after 96 hours? Higher mortality after trap release has been documented in fox populations, speculated due to unseen leg injuries. Studies on injuries from padded leg hold traps have been done and demonstrated major injuries ranging from 4 to 53%, 25% on average. You have the power to determine what level of suffering Nevada's wildlife has to endure. 33 states have 24-hour trap visitations.
Okay, Kathy, we're,
Okay, I'm on the last sentence.
okay.
There are no limitations of SB 213 and what you can consider. You have the opportunity to make a very small difference for animals, all of Nevada's animals, not just the favored ungulate animals. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody that didn't have a card up here that wishes to speak? Okay, seeing none, I think we're going to be in deliberation on this one for a little bit. So it's 10 after. We're going to be back at 20 after, and we're going to get this thing done.
I feel like I've been